Is the kid about to become the master, or is he going to be sent home crying like a baby? Let's find out, because I feel like most English mains end up crying in this matchup. Gully Deckle, kid prodigy, one of the most youthful people trying to compete in AoE 4, going up against a legend, someone who has been competing in this game since its release, 3D Clans B. And actually, I think B has been leveling up the grind, folks. That's right. After splitting his attention between Zero Space, a little bit of Battle Aces, a lot of Stormgate, B seems to be doubling down on Age of Empires 4 again. So it might be a full return of the 3D clan in 2025. Malians a pretty strong pick here, though. You know, English versus Malians. Nasty Civ Snipe, agreed, Gully. Yeah, Gully's in chat right now because we're literally just off the series catching this one. So practically live. This is a rough matchup. I've seen a few ways that English can play this. It's difficult, though. With the old TC Boom builds, even the new TC Boom builds, you feel like you can get punished. You need to get beyond the beginning of Age 3. The alternative is, there is a strategy in Age 2 that I know Gully will be aware of. You basically play what the Byzantines do against Malians, which is horsemen, longbows, rams. The tricky part is you're not Byzantines. So comparing English to Byzantines from an economical standpoint in the 15 minutes to make that happen, it's like telling someone to start their own business, and one of the people being Elon Musk, and the other person being from, like, a family that earns less than $20,000 a year and cannot afford to give you a business loan. Right? It's not a fair comparison. So, like, the way that Byzantines counter Malians by going horseman opening and naturally getting longbows is too expensive for English to easily do. The way you can make it work is what Gully's doing. Abbey of Kings, and the whole idea is you chip, chip, chip. You do a little bit of damage, you heal. You do a little bit of damage, you heal. And I have a feeling, yeah, Gully being a boomer, I agree. Like, he might try to just find a way out of Age 2 after a delay. Looking at the gold spawns, though, it's going to be hard to find that damage, man. Are you kidding me? That's kind of wild. What are these relics on our base? I don't think that's consistent, right? I'm trying to think back. I don't think we always had relics spawn in people's bases, but even if we do, that's pretty balanced, actually. I'd be more concerned about the golds, but even that, like, actually, shout out to Kevayu, who made Pigeon's View here. He took our description of what he wanted, and I don't think Kevayu has pushed the changes, but that he is working on making the central golds a little bit more balanced, because sometimes they're a little bit off. I'd argue they're off in this one, and that for some reason this time only one big gold vein is spawned, but it's at least somewhat mid-ground. But that spawn, overall, is actually really close. The only difference is the deer, right? The deer is better for B, but the golds, the berries all around them, both of them got pretty much a mirrored spawn. That's cool. And it looks like Gully is going to be doing what we see in every single English game ever since the history of ever. 2TC. So the reason why 2TC feels good is because the mantra against Malians is you make them uncomfortable by TC booming, right? If you've got a Civ that can do it quick enough, the whole ranch play is hard to pay off. So I don't mind this from Gully. I do think there was maybe an opportunity to do horseman damage. The problem is when you just see double gold like this, you become deflated, right? Like, the balloon loses all air, because at that point you just realize how hard it is going to be to break this location, because all B would have to do is build Donzos, wait for your Lombo transfer, and then build Javelins. And then, as that army comp bloats, it gradually leans further and further against English. Because once you get up to like 60, 70 military, all the English player can think is, my only way out now is getting castle. And once your opponent is at like 60 or 70 military, they're either going castle themselves or going into your base. Yeah, interesting that thing with the gold. I mean, like, overall, I don't think it's too bad that there's only one big gold here. It is leaning towards Gully, but it's not outrageous. Like, considering this is a custom map that is early for its iterations and, of course, needs to get more data, and we're getting that data for it, right? A big part of the midweek muster is it's not just about providing a training ground for upcoming players and a way of building a baseline for competitive. It's also so that we can actually collate data for hardworking map creators. Because, like, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, there are some very talented map creators that just give up on the game. They give up on the game because no one plays their maps. So what's the point, right? So being able to give that funnel point so that these maps can find their way into S-tier tournaments, maybe even to a Warlord one day, right? That, I think, is something that is greatly appreciated by map creators. So considering this has like only had a few kind of iterations, I'd say it's actually balance-wise in a very good place. And we are working on the layout of the map. I'm not even going to respond to that in chat. It's already been flagged. It was not intentional. I swear Kevayu is not trying to get me banned. So Javelin's coming out from B. I mean, Gully doesn't care though, right? He's gone 2 TC. So the fact you're going Javs now means you have to either attack or you rush age free. The problem with this is, like, whenever you see someone rushing Javs, you're not necessarily panicking that they're coming to you. I'm sure some people in chat get where I'm going with this. Like, when you've played into Javelins before, the idea of coming out of your base does not feel good. It's actually really scary because compared to just having a handful of archers here, you're more easily overwhelmed because you don't have that blob power. On top of that, your units are inherently more expensive. How do you counter Javelins? Horsemen. Great micro there. Gully gets away on 9 HP. So we'll better heal up the king. But yeah, Horseman here is really smart with the Abbey of Kings. This is usually done with a 1 TC build, but Gully's gotten away with the 2. So the idea now from Gully is to play a long feudal. He's going to try to catch B when he has his hand in the cookie jar. Check this, because he went 2 TC, B's expectation is this is going to go castle. I don't think Gully wants this to go castle. He wants to try and time this raid right, get the bulk together, so that he's diving the base as the Fulani's being built. Oh man, and so far B is falling for it. It's double archer range. He hasn't actually glimpsed this at all. Scout's running across now, so one negative I'd probably save Gully's build here, Stable's location. Why build them here instead of here? Right? Like, you can mask this information. In fact, we've seen another youthful person in there we've all seen. Dragavan utilized Pigeon's View in a very smart way of English. He built his stables across the map, in the stealth forest where it couldn't be found. Be playing single pit, it's because he went javelins and he hasn't got spears, right? So the king could still snipe villages. He's going for it now, though. In fairness, this is a horrible pit. There is, like, half value pit here because of the berry spawns. Malian player is shaking with fury right now. Horseman, oh man, the timing. Oof, he just about gets out there. Actually, does he? B, you don't really want to frontline with jabs. It looks like Gully does hesitate, though. No undermesh yet. Okay, 1s if you think this is going to favor B, 2s if you think it's going to favor Gully. Gully is starting to add in a few farms. He does have the deer to play with. He's about to exhaust. You could even go berries here, right? Like, actually, berries aren't too bad for English now. I know I'm going to get flack for saying that, but the base rate buff is terrible. Ideally, you still want farms, but if you've got a timing attack in mind, going for those farms is still expensive. 37 wood sounds cheap until you realize if you have a timing attack in mind, every farm you're adding in is one less horse. Is like a third of less horsemen, right? So every 3 farms, that's 1 less military unit you have for this timing attack. Horseman coming in. B. He's almost ready to pull the trigger, though. Remember, although it's called a Fulani, you don't need to be full before you tech. So we have seen situations where players will just go for it when they've only got like 4 ranches full. It's worth it if you're looking for a specific timing in mind around veterancies. We do have Sofa coming in. Smart read here by B. Can be a counter to both the Horsemen and the Lombos. And the logic here is if you're staying age 2, it's bad. If you're going age 3, the Sofas will win out. Golly, he's going for the Rams. So we don't have undermesh yet. This shows you just how urgent the timing is. Like, if he was confident he had a few more minutes to play with and could keep scaling army, right? You go for undermesh, Steel Arrow instead to get the premium. He needs Rams. He needs to break it. The good news is if he breaks this location, B's dead. Where does he get gold? Like, getting 75 gold a minute is not going to save you. In fact, he has it on stone right now because he's been going for fortifications. So if he finds the timing, although the tech can come through, B can't necessarily do anything with it. He'd have to sneak gold in the corner, which is so far away. Let's see if he can find that timing, though. Horseman riding in. No undermesh. He actually prioritizes the Steeled Arrow. B confident to shove this away as a result. The Lombos in the formation is not helping, and Gully, I feel like the best thing to do there would have been to peel the Horseman left and right. See if B just takes the bait, right? But you're kind of making this fight too linear for a Malian player. Malians love fights like this because it's always a tug and a pull, right? And they can just keep shuffling back and forth, back and forth. This is what I think makes Malians quite toxic. English is kind of similar to Longbows, but their economy is different, so it's not as bad. It's the defensive advantage. The mobility, the choke points, it feels so difficult to get in here. You have to have enough horsemen that you're confident you can go all the way. Because if you only have enough horsemen to go here, you've lost. You need to look at your horseman numbers as Gully and say, I could go all the way here and not care. And I think he's going to have to care because I don't think the timing is there. Import armors is on the way. Undermesh as well. Gully, this is too slow. He does have an eco lead though, so realistically he could look for his own tech play behind. But the Sofa count is already up to 3. Veteran C is going to be coming in soon. You can see it's already been queued up, 20 seconds out. Javelins are going to pay him into the choke point here. Maybe a little bit of an extension from B. Gully, he's on the villagers now. Shivs are going to be out, so able to snipe 1 or 2 eco. He's going to keep diving through. The Sofas almost ready to engage. Just 10 seconds till the upgrade comes through. Textiles has also been prepped. B has to fall back to the TC. And the Javelins are going to get surrounded, so good grab here by Gully. Pressure's mountain behind, so Outpost is going to be targeted by the Ram. Sofas have now upgraded. Gully has reduced the army. The interesting detail, though, is Longbows over Spearmen. I'm wondering if that maybe would have been the way to go, but the fact that B already had the archer ranges is, I think, why Gully hesitated to lean that direction. Horsemen are still diving, so more idle time being achieved here. B, now almost 30 villages behind. A lot of idle team achieved. There's only about, what, 2 workers maybe maximum are working here. It's the Fulani and nothing else. Gully, can he do this? Can he get enough troops pumping? It looks like an overboom. 1,200 wood! Okay, this is the classic, man. Like, Gully, if he had optimized the economy at home, he'd have enough meat to pump this to the end of the earth. And although he's done a lot of eco damage here, B is now up to 5 Sofas, soon to be 8. Gully Deco is going to have to fall back. This has to be an age up now. Damn, it was so close as well. I think this is the thing, though. Like, if you think about the intensity of that microing, right? Like, Gully is microing here on the choke point between 2 sides of the pit mine. He's chasing the villagers to get around. He's shuffling around the ranch. He's doing so many things there. He wasn't prepping what happens at home. His economy wasn't laid correctly. He can go into a big farm transition, great. But what this means is, you know, you had a time to end the game now. You could have moved onto berries, and onto berries. And then you would have had the pump to get enough horsemen to end this game now. So it is a big lead for Gully. He could still win this from this position, just tech up behind, right? But B does get a counter opportunity. Spears are on the way, but Gully had not prepped the production ahead of time. So he's going to take a hit from this. Surface march in. And that's a perfect blocker. Gully's reaction a little bit slow. I don't know how 3 of them got in there, but Outpost can be torched down. So a little bit of chip damage being done here. B is just going mass Sofas. Another villager just blocked out. Yeah, is that me or do Sofa have a really weird point of attack with their spear charge? It feels like sometimes they just don't attack. Like there, you saw that, right? He stabbed in, and that was a very long wait for the secondary strike. It's almost like they're stunning themselves. What's now going up? Gully. Classic hunker down English now, right? In fairness, you can counter from an age behind. You just build spears. The scary part is if B down just leans into archers, it's really good for him, right? Because archers will counter spears, but also, when you go age 3 as English, you're thinking men-at-arms, right? And men-at-arms will lose to the poisoned archers. It's a little bit tricky of a situation now for Gully. And this is going to have to be White Tower, right? I've seen a few players try to do King's Palace from this position. In theory, you can get enough spears to get away with it. But the cool thing about doing White Tower is if you do White Tower, you can go and counterattack, right? If you go for King's Palace, you are saying, I can't leave the base. He does, in theory, have enough gold to just say that. Moment of truth. There you go. Gully, he wants to try and get out here, so White Tower now on the way. 27 villagers rushing it up. He's not messing around. Wall did go up in time, so B not even trying to torch his way through right now. Gully should just be able to mirror the spears. Needs to be fast about this, though. Gully. Not trying to repair the wall. That may be a blunder there, actually. Gully, he had enough time to pull over to repair. I don't think you want to be inviting Sofas in the backside here, because that White Tower protects you against the front side, protects the gold. It doesn't protect the farms. He's going to split him up. Dude, what? Okay, he just got baited. Gully, I don't know if that was an A-click, but the entire army chases one Sofa. Weirdly enough, though, B just shuffles out the rest, doesn't try to attack the tree line. I am honestly shocked that Gully did not lose 5 to 8 villages from that. B just backing away. Archer transition now on the way. Gully does have a lot of farms, though. And remember, English were less impacted by the farm nerf than everyone else, right? Like, they're one of the civs that benefited, actually. Like, the difference is bigger between them and civs that don't have things like influence or a unique eco-tech. Because every civ's base tech food gathering rate got nerfed. But the mill influence didn't. The Malian farm, it didn't either. Like, actually, Grand Fulani Corral kind of got... Actually, no, it did get nerfed, right? Like, the fertilization nerf hurts. It hasn't felt like it in the Malian games I've watched so far, though. And it doesn't feel like it in this game, right? Like, if you think about it, when Gully was diving him, the only thing that was gathering for B were the cows. Wait, what the... What are you doing? That's an ambitious grab by B. He's already got 1 relic home. He wants to take every relic. He tries to snatch one from Gully's base. 30 villages versus Fulani. I'll take that. I mean, you take that as long as it doesn't reach maximum pop. Right? There is kind of like this awkward issue of like Gully needing to push. Or tech. I don't really know if you want to rush Age 4 here, though. It's still 20 per cow. Yes, Julie, it's 20 per cow, but remember, the eco-techs buff this. They buff the food gathering. So a lower percentile here actually did lose food compared to the last patch. So it is still enough for the Malians. Like, everyone got nerfed is the idea, but people, certain civs got nerfed less, is my point. English, because they have a gathering rate increase attached to the mills, got nerfed less. Oh, not from the Fulani. Yeah, fair point, the Fulani. The Fulani itself didn't, but the ranches did. So, like, compared to Season A, it is less food for Malians. I haven't done the specific numbers, but it is less food than Season A. Ram's coming. Gully, we've been here before. Anyone want to Google the definition of insanity? I mean, he has got a lot of spears this time, so the Sofa's not going to have a free time here. However, the Archer ball is big now for B. He knows he needs to contest this gold. We've already got B sneaking out for the pit mines on the north side, so he has got some passive income extra there. Gully. Okay, that is just a waste of Rams then. Like, he doesn't even feel like he can contest this. He didn't expect this many archers. Rams cleaned up. B able to shove him away. Does bait him to coming back, though. This is an overcommitment. Spears, there's not enough of them. There's no attack speed or a Gully. He needed more time to retreat. The outpost isn't up yet. I don't think it's ever going up. So a mistake being made here. Gully trying to posture, but B reads the bluff. Yeah, and this is really important because if you look at the gold, look at the comp he's doing. Gully's running out of gold fast. He can sneak the south side. The central fat stack, the 1-8K that's on this map, is now getting harder to control. Because B isn't just hiding at home. He isn't waiting for his gold anymore. He's now parked in the forest, waiting to ambush. Has at least got the outpost up. Has at least got the aura. For the attack speed here, B. Gonna have to back away. Anyone else getting the feeling we're going Age 4? The way that Gully has laid his base, in theory, yes, we should be going Age 4. Like, arguably, B would benefit more from going Sacred Sites now. He's going for mass relics. In fact, yeah, he's going to grab the last one. So, 4-to-1 relic split. Double Sacred Site makes a lot of sense here. Gully can contest it, but at least makes him come out of his base. Otherwise, B has to dive into the aura. And the aura is just so hard to beat, man. Especially on Spears. Spears are like one of the most purest form of getting the attack speed buffer. Against Sofas, they're going to have a field day. Oh my god, I'm not having a field day here, though. I keep turning around, taking my foot down, putting up again because it's injured. I keep kicking it against the side of the PC and flinching. I feel like someone spamming archers against mangoes in like the last season. That feeling you get when one hits your mass. No mangoes to be seen here, but no army either. Gully, what just happened? I mean, he takes a decent chunk of the Sofa with him, but an expensive loss in terms of count here. B's Archibald is taking over. Oh, man. I don't know what Gully was really expecting out of that. I mean, he did at least clear the sofa, and Archer shouldn't be capable of diving the static defenses, but still, once again, these forward fights, he's trying to scale the aura. But Gully, it feels like, in true baby form here, he's trying to run before he walks, right? Instead of it being a hop, skip, and a jump, he's skipping straight to the jump. And also blocking out. Gold gathering. B, he knows what this is going to turn into. It's a slog, right? Crossbows, men-at-arms, sofas, javelins. They both need this gold. Gully is not in age 4 yet. He doesn't have the enclosures tech, so he needs to secure more veins to stay alive here. Not just that, the tree line as well. What's happening, Gully? Shuffles away, but there is a gap, right? Maybe not? Okay, it's deceptive. He actually does still have a line of trees there. Thank God. Sofas still have a good time there, though. About 10 eco getting struck down. B, he now knows what the win condition is. It's this gold vein. I mean, Gully, he still has that 4K behind, but so does B. So longevity-wise, between that and the passive income, the relics as well, B can turn this into a starvation game. A playstyle that he was infamous for in StarCraft. So men-at-arms are at least going to be able to get on top of the archers. That's at least a good exchange. Not many spears here, but not many sofas either. It looks like you actually got a little bit baited on the west side. B finally re-rallying. Sofas will scare him off. So a little bit shaky there from B. Gully Deckle makes the right call. The moment he sees those sofas coming in, he has to retreat. Walls are now going up, so we are going to have that shuffle down for trees and gold into the south. Gully not dead yet, but B making this game extremely uncomfortable. Like every Malian player ever, right? Like when you reach Castle Age, it's very difficult to deal with the Zerg of the Malians. One of the best civs at doing it, right? Like I always call the Japanese the quality Malians. Quality Malians, quality Zerg, right? Malians are the truest form of Zerg. And a Zerg player like B should feel very comfortable in them. Sofas coming in. Front line is just going to get wiped. The armor clad, just no match against the imported armors here. Even the attack speed buffer. And I think that isn't... Yeah, no network of citadels here coming in from Gully. A little bit surprised at this point, considering how long he's been fighting under the aura and what his intent has been. Considering he was always looking to outpost crawl, you'd think at this stage citadels would make a lot of sense. But Gully hasn't been back to that stone really since he built the TC. Speaking of town centers, B getting ambitious now. He moves in onto the primary. Decent amount of damage being done already. Oh wait, really? People haven't heard of B playing StarCraft 2? I mean, it was before AoE 4, but yes, he was SC2. That's why B was so comfortable going and playing Zero Space in Stormgate. It was naturally in the repertoire. And yes, like any Zerg player, he was interested in draining the map before fighting you. Nah, he's genuinely just gunning for that primary. You'd think he'd just dive in, but the problem is the white tower. Like, there is a reset point here for Gully. So B, gonna go for the clash again. Network of citadels is still not there. Gully, I'm starting to think he's forgotten about it. Sofa is still going to be able to win this fight because of that as well. You need every ounce of attack speed you can get. Behind this, sacred sites have now been locked in. So B, able to frustrate in an additional way. Doesn't necessarily need to dive into the English as much anymore. What he's doing, though, is he's wearing him down. Yes, the gold can be accessed, but Gully, he's going to end up drained at this rate, right? Men-at-arms, still quite pricey on a limited resource. B, like, I'm hoping he's not going imp here. I think that's the only way you very clearly lose this game. He's got a lot of sofa to work with. His opponent has been reinvesting the spears, but now B is just that back and forth, right? Javelin, archers, javelin, archers. And the important thing is, like, once B gets back to archers, you have to go to crossbows to counter the sofa mass, right? That's when you're going to see Gully running into problems, because he can afford to just keep doing spear longbows. That's great. He's got the trees, and he's got all the stealth forest. The gold is what's going to kill him in this game. Archer in that gold? How about, hear me out, thought of the Huntress on that gold. Yeah, this is actually him. B doesn't want to keep headbutting. He's not convinced Gully's going to be coming out. Oh, no. And also, Gully is going for the crossbows, so the Archer's Javelin's going to have a field day here. I mean, is there a world in which we get some festivals? I don't think so. Sacred Site decap attempt. Not going to work out. B just needs to choose to place the landmark. And it should be coming on this gold. I mean, there's not much left to protect here, but it also would block the tree line. Gives you a staging point as well. Could be switching into Trebs. It's going to be Gurabara. Okay, this is cool. So you're probably looking at the food gathering rates, right? Like farm count is reasonable, not crazy yet, but it will get crazy soon. So yeah, B, he's sitting at what, 10 farms? But in the next 5 minutes, you can put that up to 30, 35. That gives you the food pump you need to contest English. And well, the other issue now is Gully. Does he ride out onto the map? Most valorously, does he try to contest this tech up choice by punishing his opponent? I'm not sure he can with this comp. He'd be riding blind into mobility, and sofas aren't just mobile, they're strong. So B with the tech up. And he does immediately pump it. So Food Festival coming in. Remember, that does help with what he has, the Fulani play here, right? But we'll get even better as we add in more and more farms. Still behind on the food gathering rate compared to Gully, but Gully has an age gap to make up for. Not in real life, in-game as well. Big shuffling away with the villagers, but damage done, right? He took almost 3/4 of the gold on offer here. Keep in mind, this is also Malians, which means... Da-da-da-da! Trade is an option. He's going to have to contest this area, though. Sofa's coming in. Spear's out of position. They went in to burn some buildings here. So Lombo's overextending. Nice little bit of punishment there. Elite tech's now coming through, though. This is big. Precision training in particular for the archers. They're elited up, and they're about to get yeeted up. A healthy dose of pain coming in. That's going to be 14 damage on these archers. The men-at-arms have 8 armor. That's still a 3rd damage going through. Yeah, Gully is going to struggle to rely on the men-at-arms, even like an age ahead from here. It's going to be a bit of a pickle, a bit of a bind. You've got the elite surface. You could even be looking at the Freeman leadership soon as well to give you that kite potential. Gully, it's going to have to be do Berkshire here. I think you have to due to the sofa count. Because if you don't Berkshire somewhere, or at least Stone Wall, the sofa can just ride around. He goes Wingard. Well, you can tell Gully comes by this stream because he knew that if he went for the Berkshire, I wouldn't let him live it down. The problem in this game is he has no stone walls. Sofas can play wide very easily here. So what's the plan? Footman, I guess. That's crafty, actually, guys. Think about this. Footman, they get bonus damage against cavalry. They have bonus damage against range, or bonus armor, rather, against ranged. Wingard Footman, if you can scale them, make a lot of sense. But they are weaker compared to Season 8. They no longer get extra health from elite army tactics. So, like, this is one of those weird situations where the changes... There are a lot of situations where actually the Wingard Footmen feel better just by getting the extra melee armor because they already had really good health. But in this particular matchup, it might feel a bit peculiar. It does offset some of the Sofa's damage, right? So, like, the +4 armor potentially takes away all the bonus. It's not a bad idea in theory. The only alternative would be Rangers. I don't think you Rangers here. Like, your opponent has some jabs, you could lean harder into it. Sofas will also run Rangers down. The alternative is, guys, you build a Wingard and then you don't use it. That also is on the table. I think he's just forgotten about it. I mean, he can't think about it really until Enclosures is complete anyway. Cheeky little raid from the Sofas. Army's moving, but the other time, Gully, he hasn't got the gold for the Elite Techs yet. Okay, this is really important. This pause in the game, look at what's happening. They're equalizing on economy. Now, you do have the quality of attack speed here if you're in range of the English, but I'm more focused on these sacred sites. I think B could actually just go stone walls here on the west side, focus on the east. Torch damage coming in. Did he activate it? No, he hasn't gone for the festival yet. He does have that option, remember. He can get a lot more burn speed here. A lot more burn damage, rather. Flash in the choke point. Usually does favor the guy with the more ranged units. Longbows, a formidable force. We'll be able to push him away. We still don't have network of citadels. Now, I can sort of forgive it at this point because he doesn't have his elite techs yet. He definitely has the stone, so it needs to be coming in soon. I actually think he's forgotten about it, guys. Like, it's so easy to forget about at this point in the game. Like, you're past that threshold now, especially if you went White Tower. If you went for Berkshire, you at least double-check afterwards, right? But I think we're just too deep in the hole. Golly, maybe the panic's setting in a little bit. This late game uncomfortable. The Sofa line does spread out. Full elite techs aren't in yet. The Spearmen aren't upgraded. The Longbows aren't upgraded. The Men-at-Arms not favored in this clash up against the Sofa. B... It looks like he's got a stranglehold on this. The army just bigger. Gully Deckle, you'd think defender's advantage would be real, but it's just not in this situation. The attack speed not good enough. The upgrade's not good enough. The precision training really paying off here for B. And this is before you even have like extra health on the Sofas, right? So a nice mop up here. Plenty of Sofas now on the way behind this. I think he did just go for the production festival. So it's going to be a slight reset here. Is B feeling a little bit fatigued as the front line does start to fall. But look at the aftermath, folks. Military numbers. Looking pretty ugly for Gully, and he still has a necessity towards Unitex here. Until he's got them, he's not going to feel comfortable in this game. And the gold gathering... Farm's OP, right? There is a lot you can actually benefit from the enclosures. He is at 63. However, the flip side, B, how's the trade looking? 15, not too bad. I think he does have some outposts up. Not many. And oh my god, wow, okay. So this is the bigger problem now. Unitex might be accessible for Gully, but you guys might have noticed that the hand cannoneers don't just insta-GG, they require a specific type of GG. Your opponent's running out of wood, he stopped building longbows. Your opponent's massing men-at-arms. That is the specific type of GG we're looking for here. With the Serpentine powder, he gets the +8 up against MAA. He also gets a juice and movement speed to keep snowballing. So Gully, he needs to sniff this out at its infancy. Yeah, Footmen also going to struggle with this, guys. They have more ranged armor, sure, but it just doesn't matter. You won't be able to reach the target. This is crafty by B. No biology, a little bit surprising. I thought it'd be worth it with this many units, but he's thinking about what's next instead of what's now. We do have a keep drop. Now, surely, Gully, he's built a castle. Right? Right? No, it's still not coming through. One of the most obnoxious tools that English has at their disposal in the late game. Oh, the game. Every point of the game, really. And it's still not there. Well, Gully, mate, you can't treat this tech like your savings account your parents set up for you. It doesn't mature and gain interest. It's better a little bit earlier, but finally is on the way. Network of Citadels at 35 minutes. It does not feel nitpicky, actually. I think the difference it would have made is huge. Like, the crazy part is Gully was so absorbed in the fights over this sacred site, trying to crawl outposts. He clearly wanted the aura, but then he was so fixated on getting the aura expanded, he didn't think about making the aura better where he had it. A little bit of a raid attempt. There's nothing down here, though. We are at gold starvation point, though, right? Last of the gold is being taken right now. Sofa's standing their ground, and that is going to be the gunners arriving. Serpentine powder really ruins the aesthetic of these guys. They've just shoved giant condoms on their guns. I don't know why, but Serpentine powder has a visual bug right now where, for some reason, the really cool-looking gunners turn into standard hand cannoneers. Sofa's still raiding, though. Gully. Okay, he's going to react. The Footman got baited onto one. That's really smart micro by B. He's noticing that his reactions are kind of all in on one Sofa at a time, so he's just splitting. Makes sense, right? Like, APM efficiency for Gully, it's more optimal, but if B exploits it, it's bad for him. A bit chip damage done there. Gunpowder boys are building up. Gully needs to get into Lombos. Instead, he's trying to go into his own hand cannoneers here. Tricky against Mass Sofa, though. I mean, this isn't the unit it used to be, right? Even if you get Gunpowder Tech, it sucks against the Sofa specifically. So yeah, I think Gully needed Lombos. Lombo Spears makes a reasonable amount of sense. Lombo Footman, especially. No wood. I mean, you've got all the Straggler Tree wood. I think you just have to play this. The tree lines are thin, sure, but Lombos is meant to be the answer against hand cannoneers now. I mean, it always has for English. Answer doesn't seem to be coming through here, though. B about to break that front line. Lombo count not high enough, only 60. He's trying to focus down that back line of infantry. But I think too many have leaked through here. Gully, not really with the ability to remass with only 500 win income. It's going to be a shove back, and I think a shove to the afterlife for him. So Gully, a fatiguing game, man. One that could have been over. Maybe 15 minutes in with an all-in. It looked like Gully was so close. Maybe if he just had that extra line of production instead of 1,200 wood, it would have put him over the edge and put him ahead in this series against B. But in the late game, in a resource slog, in a game of attrition, you have to know B is going to be comfortable there. Malians look firmly positioned to take this. Trade is just getting out of control as well, up to 27. He also still has the ability to keep food festivaling when needed. Doesn't really need it right now. Huge reserves for him. More gunners on the way. Now, doesn't mean end of the road for Gully, but a brutal opening to this single Elim best of 3. Impressive he was able to hold up this well against B in a matchup where Malians historically have looked very content with the status quo. A matchup that has felt awkward for the English at the best of times. If you went ranged armor earlier, it would have worked, I think. Yes. Ranged armor because you went steeled arrow, right? And I think on top of that, you just needed more production going. You've done the classic. Like, my advice to you is you had berries, deer, and you put way too many people on wood. If you want to spam mass lombos, sure, but that wasn't happening, right? It just felt like a bit of a miss macro at a critical point when you were distracted. It can easily happen, and it's something you'll learn with time. But for an all-in attack like that, I mean, it's impressive you had this type of fallback. You can try to credit that to the English folks, but it also takes a talented player to execute. And that talented player now is going to be executed. Stonewall's going up from B just to guarantee it. We've got Stonewalls from Gully. The problem is, like, there's no need for a flank raid here. The army difference is overwhelming. Gully doesn't even have the wood income to replace the lost production. Oh, if you like what you see here, though, guys, I mean, Gully is an upcoming name. We've seen him before. I'm sure we'll see him again. You could be the next Gully Deco yourself. You need to remember to sign up for these. ! KPMM chat or go across the Start GG and search Midweek Muster. Sign up to them now because we've got a lot of upcoming names that have started to appear. And I always love to cast me some upsets. Who knows? I could be casting yours in the next chapter.